and that's what locked the game up for him.
So Darkness is going to come in from NRG. He is Grandmaster as well, so we've seen nothing but Grandmaster players tonight, Gallegation.
And I would expect nothing less from this stage of the playoffs. Frankly, the cream rises to the top, and we are seeing the cream now.
Yeah, it is. I like the way you put that.
Aries 1066 is asking if I'm wearing makeup. No, my cheeks are just naturally that red.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I love it. And not even drinking either.
No.
Usually
no.
you look at a beer and your face turns red.
That is how it goes. But it's a little warm. Don't burn me. Hey, chat, you calm down over there.
Calm down. Calm down.
All right, well, I think that we are ready to jump into this next game, though.
We absolutely are, and it is going to be a score of 2-1 right now. And in the lower right-hand corner from Team NRG, wearing the blue trunks as Protoss, it is Darkness.
And in the bottom left corner, again playing very commandingly in the previous game with all of the infestors and all the tech, it is Guitar Cheese.
Guitar Cheese, I mean, that build and play from last game was very reactive. I mean, he definitely wasn't in control of the game for quite a long time there. I mean, City was definitely controlling the flow of the game, but Guitar Cheese reacted very well to everything he saw and ended up coming up with this composition that we just almost never see. And it was honestly, what do you do against it? What do you do against Ultra? A huge number of infestors. I mean, I haven't seen that many infestors in 10 Zerg games put together.
No, frankly, I haven't seen that many infestors in one game since the end of Wings of Liberty, to be honest. But they still are viable, as Guitar Cheese has pointed out to us.
Sabimi in chat saying, so is the winner that stays on. Yes, this is a King of the Hill format, best of 9. So if you win a game, you play the next game. You play until you win. If you win 5 in a row, you can get an all kill, which is a cool little hat to put on. I killed everybody. We haven't seen many of those in these playoffs, as these teams are all very, very good. But the Guitar Cheese winning the last game, going to be in for game number 3. We'll see if he can win again or if Darkness is going to take it back.
So with this map being the biggest map in the map pool, Guitar Cheese smartly just deciding to take his natural base first, as the chances of getting early rushed are very slim. And if you do, then you typically are able to have your defenses up before it really gets rolling.
And Darkness doing the same. No scout, Nexus first. As you know, if you put down a 6-pull on this map, we've many try and seen many fail. You go an early pull with some lings and you spend half your time still just trying to find them.
Guitar Cheese choosing to take a third hatchery before spawn pool here. And now the spawn pool just now going down.
Yeah, we'll see if it comes to fruition, but I mean, definitely not a bad play considering what Darkness is doing. I mean, he's just now putting down a gateway, so both players going to be fairly safe here as the Forge finishes going to throw down a cannon. But Darkness still has not gotten any scout off yet, so he does not know where he even is. He's just now checking out the top base, sees an Overlord. Just by the direction that Overlord's going, I think you could put 2 and 2 together and say he's in the lower left-hand corner.
Especially with the Overlord that's in City's natural, or I'm sorry, not City.
Yeah, but he doesn't
Darkness
see
is
that.
natural. It was poking around. I think he got a vision on it.
But Darkness does figure it out, obviously, as he's going down to C, and he's going to be interested to see 3 completed bases. 2 Zerglings in production. We'll probably start seeing a swell of drones come up here. This is going to be a really fast number of drones that I expect to see out from Guitar Cheese, but the thing will be is what tech does he choose off of all this economy?
And that will be the interesting part. We've seen a lot of fun tech from him so far. So Darkness is seeing that third base. It's going to be interesting now to see whether or not he's going to choose to press that with some early aggression or try to macro himself.
I mean, I just think at this point there is no early aggression. I don't know if it's even possible to get something out. Cybernetic Core just finishing. So I think the strongest thing he could do right now is throw down 2 Stargates and crank out 4 Void Rays and just go try and kill that third base. But will we see that? We will find out.
There is a Stalker going down, and it doesn't look like he will be doing that just yet as we see the robotics facility happening.
Yep. So going for a bit longer play here. The Overlord is now venturing its way out to see what is there. Oh, gosh. Unbelievable. So the Overlord, I predict, is going to venture out here to see what is there. And he's going to see, a lot of Protoss players have been putting that Stargate in the wall lately. So I think that's what he's moving out there checking for, knowing that he can just retreat back to that tower.
And, and it's just good to poke in there and see what kind of tech is happening if it's placed in a position where he can see it. Unfortunately for him, that Robo is just out of sight. He was not able to get it. So good placements overall. That Stalker is walking around, was able to get a kill off on a Zergling.
Looks like all the gas is going down at 6 minutes. This is a fairly, it's not one of the newest builds in the world, but 6 minutes is the money time to put down your gas if you want to go for a big Roach Hydra swell. So maybe we'll see that out of Guitar Cheese, but that's not that limiting. But, oh, is this going to be a Immortal Zealot Sentry all in? That is a very fast Immortal and Chrono Boost on it as well.
If nothing else, if it's not an all-in, it's definitely going to be some type of aggression with it. You definitely don't Chrono Boost out a unit that you're just planning on parking.
Yeah, that's true. We have seen it done, but not the smartest thing to do. Stalker does pop in to see what's up here at this third base, sees that there is not any gas yet. 2 queens, so the creep is going to be working its way across. Overlord venturing out. The tickle cannon's going off, trying to kill it down. Ah, Overlord succumbs to the tickling.
As we all.
Yeah, ask my son how tickling feels. He'll tell you how it is to succumb to tickling. So second Immortal being Chrono boosted out. So we are going to see a lot of Sentries and Immortals. This is a nasty push, both against Zerg and Terran. We've seen it.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, it's very nasty. It's a powerful, aggressive push, and if you can time it right, he's going to be able to do some damage.
And look at the timing. Guitar Cheese now 9 roaches in production. So I mean, there's going to be a huge roach swell coming here as +1 attack and roach speed and Zergling speed now coming up. So I mean, these Immortals are going to get so much damage done.
Oh yeah, I mean, the Immortals against roaches, they like to do that particular matchup.
Oh, and Darkness, look at that. He's walling off his hole there with 2 pylons. So this is going to be hoping to seal a win here, as he does not want any counterattacks to come and do any damage to him. But Guitar Cheese with the Overlord in a great spot there to see it.
And Guitar Cheese is knocking down these rocks right outside his third base, so Darkness is going to have to take the long way around. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not...
Yeah, I thought that those were going to fall too, but those are actually just regular rocks.
Yep, my bad. So he's trying to get better positioning.
There is a lot of Zerglings here, so these force fields are going to be absolutely imperative. Oh my gosh, but a Warp Prism, that's going to up the ante here even so much, and there's a lot of money in the bank for Darkness. This is going to be a strong push.
Yeah, he can move that Warp Prism into the main base while this army is engaging at the front, but it looks like he's going to... he's just going to keep it behind his army, and in goes Darkness. But so many units, great force fields. Look at that zoning.
He's going to be able to use that to lift up those Immortals too.
And so much Zerg carnage happening here. But Darkness is taking a lot of damage too. All 3 Immortals still last, except for that one did just fall. The shields are down on another, and it does into that Warp Prism.
Amazing micro by Darkness, lifting up, turning the Warp Prism to be able to warp in units and still micro the Immortals. Fantastic.
Yeah, this is a huge amount of damage done to Guitar Cheese here. And he's going to just focus this base down and be happy with that, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, with this Warp Prism here, he's warping in a lot of Zealots.
Yeah,
he's not doing much behind this, so...
He's going to be pushing this advantage then.
And now 6 Hydras coming out, 16 Zerglings, so they're going to be doing a bit more damage to these Immortals and Zealots. So we'll see how far he can get with this. But if he gets a lot of Hydras out, that might stop it in its tracks a bit there.
So that base does fall now, and Darkness continuing to warp in Stalkers now to support this army. There are tons of sentries here. I mean, he's got 7 sentries.
Yeah, absolutely great choice by Darkness to warp in Stalkers instead of Zealots, because as these Hydras come out, he's going to need that range DPS to get up in here. But oh, a wall coming down for Guitar Cheese.
But it went down a little bit too late, so one of them does get focused down before it got much health created for it.
Yeah, so Guitar Cheese is in a rough position here. 2 bases. Darkness in a 2-base position. Now he's putting down a Robo Bay too, so to move out of this into Colossus.
Guitarchi's moving forward now, trying to catch some of this army off guard. Definitely take out that pylon, but he does not like that positioning. Is getting out of there.
He's got to watch it with those sentries going up those ramps. He could easily split this army in half, and if he does, it's death time.
Yeah, you do not want to lose those units in this situation. And Spire getting put down now, so he's going to be trying to do some counterattacking with some air.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's the best choice for Guitarchis, because now that that damage is done, Darkness trying to get his units back in his base, but it's still walled off. Colossus is going to be coming out, so if he can get some... I mean, it's still going to be a while before he can get anything out, and he's going to have to get some banking going, because his economy is just hurt so bad right now.
Yeah, the income is slightly in the favor of Darkness, but fairly close, so...
but that's not where Zerg wants to be right now. He wants to be on 4 bases.
And Darkness choosing to press that economic lead by sending in a Warp Prism with 4 Zealots locked in there. Is going to head right on into the main and do some damage there.
But if Guitarchis pushes right now, this actually could be a little bit scary, as this only 1 Colossus out, range isn't finished yet, and he has a lot of Hydras, a lot of Zerglings.
Oh, and that Warp Prism is warping in more Zealots. They do get the Queen down. All the SCVs get pulled. But the Zealots are focusing on that lair. Big swing in of Lings, though. That's likely going to be able to clean it up. And sure enough, the Warp Prism loads up and heads out.
I mean, that caused Guitarchis to pull his entire army back, and Darkness only lost 100 minerals worth of units, 1 Zealot. Guitarchis does have a Zergling up here at the 4th base of Darkness. See what happens, but this Warp Prism still being an issue here. Dropping these Zealots out, did only lose 1, but trying to get that extra assimilator down, I think, but...
Yeah, wasn't able to quite do it. Oh, walking right over those Queens, though, he might lose that.
Oh, but he did see that there's going to be mutas out now, so the big question is to what he does to that, because, oh, Blink now about half done, so that's a good thing, but he's going to have to defend against these mutas. There's going to be about, oh, he has a Hallucinated Phoenix, so that's not going to be doing any damage to those.
No, trying to just scare them away.
There's Mothership Core there with a Photon Overcharge available. But Guitarchi's going to be pushing the 3rd base. He's going to be able to take this down.
And Darkness rushing forward with those Colossus in tow.
Or
I don't know if he's actually going to get it. Yeah,
No.
I think those Colossus are going to be able to clean that up.
Even if the Colossus were going to do, he could have force fielded around the Nexus and been able to get away. But that allows the mutas to jump in the natural.
And they jump in definitely for sure.
Don't get much done, though. If we look at the workers killed, it's 13-2. So he only killed 2 workers in that whole engagement.
But it's 3 bases to 3 bases right now, which again is probably not where Zerg wants to be.
No, and especially, you know, besides the... I mean, I would consider this a handful of Mutalisks. The army for Guitarchis is not ideally what he would want as the Colossus number begins to grow.
And actually, Guitarchis has the drone disadvantage. He's only at 54 drones to the 62 probes of Darkness.
Yeah, and now with 2 to 3 Colossus, Darkness is going to be pushing this. And oh, the mutas is going to swing into the 3rd base. Nothing here to defend. Not even enough energy for a Photon Overcharge. Stalkers do blink back to be able to push that away. But the Roaches and the
Roaches and the Hydras. And they are not focusing down that Nexus just yet. It looks like the Roaches are now trying to focus it down. Are they going to get it? The blink forward, doing lots of damage, but continues to focus it down and does get it. So the Roaches are going to try and hightail it out. Only 1 manages to get away.
And not an efficient trade for Guitarchis, and I don't think he's really at the point yet where he can start making those inefficient trades like that, because, I mean, Darkness still does have a very large army, much bigger than Guitarchis by about 15 food or so. So if he sacks units like that to take out a base, that might not be so valuable, but these Blink Stalkers are going to get under these mutas if he blinks up one more time.
I mean, sniping a base is still sniping a base, though, and that gives you a momentary economic lead, even if you know if your opponent is going to be immediately putting it back down.
Yeah,
Darkness now getting ready to move forward here, and Guitarchis is trying to move his units around to get the right concave.
And there's so many sentries still in that army. He can block off both of those paths. Fantastic.
And sure enough, so many of those units get zoned. The mutas are in there trying to do what they can, but they are getting destroyed by these stalkers. More force fields going down. The Roaches and the Hydras are trying to move forward still, but they are getting cleaned up by all these stalkers and immortals.
Yeah, I think the Guitarchi is once again gonna maybe barely be able to hold this off. Blink Micro being employed. Looks like he is. Oh, there's a reinforcement of stalkers coming. It is going to push darkness back, but oh, and there's a warp in from the warp prism at the third base of Guitar Cheese, so that's going to be doing some damage there, likely taking it out because his army's still busy defending.
Yeah, that is a huge amount of damage that was done to Guitar Cheese there. He was forced to just rally whatever units he was able to make towards the front, and he is going to end up losing this third base because of it.
Well, he did end up taking down that warp prism, though, so he's not going to get these units out. So this is an interesting position here. Guitar Cheese is stuck on 3 bases, one of them being basically a remote base, and only 5 drones mining at it. And Darkness's economy is looking pretty good. Darkness is mining more in both regards to Guitar Cheese and has 20 more workers.
Yeah, Guitar Cheese is really going to have to get some kind of aggression going here if he wants to try and pull this out. He's got to damage that economy so he can try and get that lead going. And he is going to try and push up here. But that army of Darkness is just right there. Where's Bruce Campbell?
I mean, 20 workers behind is absolutely not where Zerg wants to be. Zerg wants to be 20 workers ahead. So the economy of Darkness, even though they traded armies there, the economy of Darkness is going to get him a bigger, better army faster than Guitar Cheese. Obviously. Obvious statement of the century right there.
If they move the football into the goal line, they're going to score some points.
So Guitar Cheese moving back to try and just secure himself a base here because he's not doing well in the economy. He's getting some more drones at this third base, but I mean, Darkness has not been sitting still. He's been moving around, been keeping active, which has kept Guitar Cheese on his toes.
Yeah, and Darkness taking a 4th base behind this, so he's going to actually have the base advantage now, not just the equality.
I mean, a Protoss on 4 bases against a Zerg on 3.5 bases, let's be honest, that's scary.
It definitely is.
So it looks like Corruptor is starting to come out for Guitar Cheese as he thinks the Colossus might be starting to get out of control, but there's still, I mean, the big thing is there's still so many sentries in this army. By this point, the sentries would normally be falling out, but Guitar Cheese just hasn't gotten the damage done to get those sentries out, so he still has to be very, very careful with his engagements.
And those sentries have been incredibly useful. You know, all those force fields going down have been able to contribute heavily to the effectiveness of this army so far.
Yeah, and the Guardian Shield, you know, I mean, even that, in this case, that prevents a lot of damage to those units. But, I mean, look at the number of Stalkers he has. That's a lot of Stalkers.
It is definitely a lot of Stalkers. So we will, and he's been using them very effectively to try and bait units in using good blink backs. So now this army is going to be engaging. The Colossus are going down to those Corruptors, but the force fields do zone out a lot of these Hydras, and the Colossus are able to get huge damage done before they do fall.
Yeah, and now Darkness is just going to blink aggressively forward to take out the remaining army of Guitar Cheese, and I sense a GG coming in. There it is!
Yep, there it is.
Wow, so a very impressive game by Darkness. I mean, we've seen the Protoss and Zerg in this league so far. It just depends on how the Protoss can orchestrate the game. If the Protoss, I mean, that push, I mean, that's just a nasty... You as a Zerg, I mean, doesn't that just make you shake in your pants about seeing 3 Immortals, 5 Sentries, and Zealots and Stalkers coming across the map that early?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you take that 3rd early base like that and it does get scouted, you have to... I mean, Darkness really pressed the advantage there. He really took advantage of the information and was able to make good on it. You know, he got that great army pushed forward and microed it beautifully to be able to take out that base and equalize the economy, to which he then furthered his lead by going economic and eventually maintaining a lead in the economy as well as the